What would you say to those who are just kind of overly critiquing the film at this point? You've worked so hard on it.
I'm getting on across. Hold on. Here. Yeah, hold on.
All right. Congrats, Rachel.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, I don't need your business. Thanks.
Minecraft in the United States in one weekend made more money than Snow White has made globally after 3 weekends. That's how bad it is right now.
Yeah. Weird. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby. But
where we can entertain responsibly, obviously, we try to do that. We try to have a positive impact on the world. But the first thing we need to do is entertain.
Every way that Disney changed the story, it changed it for the worse.
The producers, far left-wing activists in Hollywood, are turning on her, and Disney has canceled all of Rachel Zegler's appearances on their media platform.
There was an in-depth piece, like a behind-the-scenes piece, talking about how they've been in a full meltdown about this girl for a couple of years now.
Rachel Zegler just pulled a disappearing act straight out of a scandal-filled Hollywood thriller. 1 minute, she's in the middle of Disney's biggest PR disaster, and the next, she's spotted fleeing to Dubai. Why? Because Disney is reportedly coming for her. Hard. Insiders claim they want $120 million back after the Snow White bomb. Yes, $120 million. This isn't gossip. This is a corporate firestorm with legal threats, public backlash, and one rising star whose entire career might be crashing down right before our eyes. So, what really happened? And why is Rachel Zegler suddenly the most wanted woman in Hollywood? Let's break it down.
Who wants a movie about true love? What kind of woman do we want out there seeking true love, Eliana? It's the outrage.
Rachel Zegler has gone completely silent, and not in the usual taking a break from social media kind of way. We're talking total vanishing act. No posts, no interviews, no statements, just radio silence. And the timing? That's what has everyone talking. Just days after reports surfaced that Disney was furious over the massive failure of its live-action Snow White remake, rumors began swirling that Rachel was being held accountable, financially and legally. Multiple insider leaks claim the studio is considering cutting bonuses, enforcing strict morality clauses, and potentially even demanding repayment from the actress. So when she suddenly hopped on a plane and flew thousands of miles to Dubai, the internet exploded.
I say, if I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed on.
Saying that audiences will always line up to see her no matter what she does.
Every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
You know what's interesting about all this is that the only person waiting in line to see Snow White was Rachel Zegler.
Is she simply lying low, or is she running from something much bigger? Zegler, once touted as the future face of Disney, has been surrounded by controversy since she first stepped into the iconic role of Snow White. The casting was bold. Rachel was chosen at just 20 years old, plucked from relative obscurity after being cast in West Side Story. Her talent wasn't the issue, it was what came after. Almost immediately, her interviews began drawing criticism. In clips that went viral, Rachel openly mocked the 1937 Snow White animated classic, calling it outdated and saying her version would have a modern edge. She emphasized that this Snow White wouldn't be saved by a prince, or even dreaming about true love.
Absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
Instead, she'd be focused on becoming a leader. While the intent may have been to modernize the fairy tale for a new generation, the execution came off as dismissive and even disrespectful to fans who grew up cherishing the original. As press tours continued, things spiraled. Rachel's offhand remarks were perceived as arrogant by some fans. Her tone rubbed people the wrong way, especially when she spoke about how she didn't need the business of those who disagreed with her. Critics claimed she lacked humility and a basic understanding of the power of legacy IPs like Snow White. The controversy snowballed. Instead of putting out the fire, Rachel unintentionally poured gasoline on it, and the damage to Disney's image and the movie's chances was already done. And then there was the political storm. During what should have been a high-stakes marketing moment, Zegler posted a political message in support of Palestine.
In the thick of rehearsals for Romeo plus Juliet, so I'm going to get out of here. Bye for now. The Variety Story notes how a couple of minutes after posting this, she replied to her own tweet and wrote, "And always remember, free Palestine."
Imagine that on the streets of the United States and different cities around the world, we would see people not condemning Hamas, but celebrating, justifying, and cheering on a massacre of Jews.
A stance that, while personal, was ill-timed in the eyes of Disney executives, especially considering that her co-star Gal Gadot is Israeli. Reports say that Disney sent one of the producers to personally ask Rachel to take the post down. She refused. The message remained up, and tensions within the Disney machine reportedly skyrocketed. Executives were furious, marketing teams scrambled, and fans were left divided, some applauding Rachel's conviction, others accusing her of sabotaging her own film. Behind the scenes, it was chaos. According to insiders, Disney began holding internal meetings to discuss damage control. One source claimed that executives were openly questioning whether Rachel had violated promo clauses in her contract. Those vague but powerful morality rules that major studios often reserve for situations exactly like this. Legal teams were looped in. Discussions about slashing Rachel's bonuses, canceling future deals, or even demanding financial restitution allegedly took place. And then she vanished. No more tweets, no red carpets. Her team offered a vague explanation. She was simply taking a break. But internet sleuths weren't buying it. Deleted posts, jet tracker activity, and a wiped public schedule suggested something deeper. Something planned. While Rachel was off the grid, the fallout continued to escalate. Snow White didn't just perform poorly, it bombed, miserably. Reports estimate the film could cost Disney upwards of $250 million in losses. Despite the studio's immense marketing push, ticket sales were abysmal. Critics dragged it. Fans mocked it. And worse, it became a punchline on social media. And just when things couldn't get more embarrassing, a wild twist came out of nowhere. The Minecraft movie, yes, the pixelated video game turned film, debuted in theaters and absolutely crushed Snow White at the box office. Let that sink in. A movie based on blocky video game characters made more in its opening weekend than Snow White managed globally after several weeks. Families showed up in droves for Minecraft. Reviews weren't glowing. Critics gave it a lukewarm 40%, but audiences loved it, giving it a solid 87% approval rating.
You can see families were more than willing to go to the box office to support something like the Minecraft movie, while Rachel Zegler's Snow White continues to plunge.
She's literally the only person there. And do you not understand how humiliating this is? Meanwhile, the experience at Minecraft goes something like this.
In contrast, Snow White struggled to hit $77 million globally. It was a brutal comparison. One film embraced fun and nostalgia, the other tried to rewrite a fairy tale and ended up rewriting its own downfall. What really stung for Disney was the simplicity of Minecraft's win. It didn't need political messaging. It didn't attempt to be something it wasn't. It stayed true to its source material, delivered laughs, and gave audiences what they wanted: entertainment. Jack Black's voice performance brought the perfect balance of energy and humor. Showings were packed. In some cities, the audience was so rowdy and engaged that the cops were called in to calm things down. Meanwhile, Snow White showings looked like ghost towns. One viral clip showed Rachel sitting nearly alone in a theater, a haunting visual metaphor for the film's reception. And as Minecraft soared, Rachel watched from afar, silent in Dubai. Disney, once the undisputed king of family films, now looked like a studio in total disarray. Execs reportedly went into full panic mode. Fingers were being pointed, budgets were being reevaluated, and Rachel Zegler, the actress once seen as Disney's next-gen star, became the scapegoat. Whether fair or not, she had become the face of the failure. But the public wasn't done. Online discourse dissected every word of Rachel's long-delayed apology. Critics and fans alike called it hollow, overly polished, and clearly crafted by a legal team rather than a real human being. It lacked authenticity. There was no sense of real emotion. Just a PR memo disguised as remorse. For many, it only confirmed what they already suspected. Rachel didn't understand the backlash because she had never truly connected with the role or the audience it was meant to serve. Insiders claim the fallout has taken a toll. Rachel is reportedly devastated. Rumors suggest she's broken down in tears multiple times, overwhelmed by how quickly public opinion turned. Not long ago, she was the it girl, a rising star with brand deals, spin-offs, and a global spotlight. Now, her team is split on what to do. Some want her to come out swinging with a bold comeback. Others say she should vanish, lay low, wait it out, and maybe try again years down the line when the storm has passed. But this doesn't feel like a minor scandal. It feels like a full-blown implosion, a cautionary tale for studios and stars alike. Disney gambled big with a legacy title, ignored fan warnings, and let an untested lead take the wheel, and it blew up in their face. While Rachel hides overseas, Minecraft is doing victory laps. One film brought people together, the other pushed them away. The contrast couldn't be more brutal. And Disney, the once mighty empire, now looks like it's fumbling major brands left and right. With Snow White, they took an iconic property, stripped it of its charm, and tried to modernize it in all the wrong ways. Nostalgia wasn't the problem. Execution was. The message wasn't received because the heart was missing. And Rachel, whether fairly blamed or not, is left carrying the weight of the studio's biggest blunder in years. So the question remains, what's next? Will Rachel fight back or fade away? Will Disney write this off as a fluke or start seriously rethinking how it handles remakes? One thing's clear. The silence surrounding Rachel Zegler says more than any press release ever could. This isn't just a failed film, it's a cultural moment, a collision of Hollywood ego, fan loyalty, and a studio that forgot who its audience really is. And the story? It's far from over.